care about UMBC, who care about women's issues, who care about this notion of making sure we keep people safe. I agree completely. I congratulate you from yesterday and today from speaking the truth to power. I sit in the chair of power. And so with that, let me certainly apologize. Clearly, we have not done a good enough job. If we had, you didn't hear that. Some of you know me, and I'm very comfortable in saying, I said this yesterday. We thought we were doing a good job. We've done a lot, but it clearly is not enough. Anytime I have this many of my students here who are feeling we need to do more, we need to do more. And we will do a lot more. And anybody that knows me again is when I say something, I mean it. Now, what I'm going to need is an opportunity to look at it. I mean, there are a number of these, and we're planning to have a town hall meeting.
Does anybody have a fresh copy?
It's okay. I mean, it's all here. It's all here. I got it. It's good. I mean, it's excellent. You've written through things. What I want you to hear me saying is this: we're in the middle of a legal suit. And those of you who are pre-law or who know anything about the law there are certain constraints. And one of those constraints is this, that until allegations are proved, we have to go through that process. We have no choice. If we don't, the university is liable for suit. The state expects me to make sure we make decisions based on a process, the legal process that must go on. And it takes a long time, it really does. We've been going through one of those cases for 2 or 3 years. I will tell you that from my own point of view, and I want you to see my face when I say this, I still believe we have been doing the right thing. What we did not do is to communicate to staff, to students, the things we've been doing and the ways in which you might be involved with us. For that, I certainly apologize. The case, when it comes to these 2 cases, again, you can't talk about the legal issues in specificity for 2 reasons. One, the privacy of people, and number 2, it muddies the waters when it comes to the court case. And we're in the middle of that right now. But there are many things on this list that are very reasonable, some of which were said yesterday. Some are low-hanging fruit that we can work on, okay? Others will take a little time, but I think this is what we need, and I want you to think about this. You have my word. We will take this very seriously. The one area, when it comes to personnel and legal suits, there's no quick fix for that. No, we can't quickly, just legally. You need to know that. If you look at all the cases in other places, when that happens, it comes back to kill the university with millions of dollars. And the other part is this: everybody has the right for due process. And the challenge right now in a legal suit, and I want you to read up on it, and we can have chances for you to have that kind of support. I do think this, one of the things that it seems to me, even without reading what you have here, we do need the right outside group looking at the whole system, okay, to give us some, because I'm saying it again, everybody who knows me, we have been feeling we're doing the right things. Now, if there are shortcomings, if there are things we have not done, we need to deal with those. There's no doubt about that. We need to have our students believing in us, that we trust you. We know you're here because you care. You're here because you want to make sure survivors are supported, and that we do the training necessary to prevent as much as possible of this from happening. It is not in anybody's interest to see people in any way disrespected, assaulted, or any of that. And this is a campus that has worked really hard to deal with those cases. Now, here's the challenge. We have not been communicating whatever we've even been doing. Again, I apologize, because there's a lot we can talk about and some things that give you some sense of what's going on so that you can say, okay, we get this, we don't get this. All right? We need to bring you into that process. That's where we made the mistake. And that is a sincere apology from me. The other thing I would say to you is that I do think that I want to work with some representative group and people who are survivors in preparing to hear. I want to listen to the different perspectives. These are excellent suggestions, some of which I can deal with, some of which I cannot for legal reasons. I really cannot. But I think if you can see us making progress on some, you'll begin to build some trust. Now, keep in mind, if I have any sense at all, when I have 100, 200 students in my conference room telling me that we have concerns, my number one deal must be to listen to what they're saying, okay? I give you my word, we will take this very seriously. We'd already begun working with some of the people with the We Believe You movement and some of the other groups. We want to continue with them and with some other representatives, okay? Because I think the more you learn about the issues, the more you see the legal challenges. Let me just tell you that one of the challenges is that, I mean, for us and for you, that we need to be careful about is that if somebody begins to feel that their character is defamed, they can sue us and you. And we want to make sure, we want to protect. What's going on? Somebody's leaning against me.
Yeah, keeping the lights.
Yeah. No. I wanted, when I heard that you were wanting to come here, I've been here now at UMBC 30 years. I've been president 25. I have never turned students away from my office, and I never will. Whether we are agreeing on something or not, I care about you. Every one of you. I respect the fact that you're here. It takes courage to be here. You deserve to get some answers. We will be working on that. We began some yesterday with some suggestions. Some of the things you said today were said yesterday. We've already begun on some of those. And I think the more you can see the progress and the sincerity. But the biggest thing of all that I think that I do commit to is that we're going to have some kind of external review so that everybody, because right now it's clear many people don't have trust in the process, okay? And I think the more we can do that and think through, and you can be thinking about this, and at the town hall meeting, you can make comments about any suggestions about approaches we take. And we want, I think the more we can involve representatives of your group, it can't be everybody in the room, but I mean representatives, right? To say, yeah, they're doing the right thing. Yeah, they are honest about this. Yeah, they're finding the best possible people to look at the whole system, okay? You will have more confidence. One of the things you said about students yesterday is that students will trust students first, and that makes sense, it does. So as I said, I was really glad that we're working on this town hall meeting. I'm glad that we're doing this now, though, so that I can get a sense of what's going on, but most important, to feel your frustration, to feel the lack of communication, and to know we have to be better. I thought we were better than we are, and I accept that. From the bottom of my heart, I don't know what else to say about that. But you will see the progress, and I want you to think about specifically ways that you can be helpful to us in going through some of these recommendations as we talk in the town hall meeting. Again, I want the outside world to see what I want the inside world to be, and that is a place where students and faculty and staff and administration have come together with some points of disagreement and have said, let's get that common ground, let's make progress, let's make students first in this work. Now, it sounds like talk. I said yesterday, it's about it. I am not a politician. I've never been a politician. I would not be saying this if I didn't have 110% confidence. We can make a lot of progress, and the goal will be that students say, Hrabowski and the administration listened to us and made some changes, and that students feel safer, and the process is better understood, and where it had some problems, timelines and those kinds of things, that we had the outside, where the experts looking at that in conjunction with us to make it the best possible system possible.
Excuse me, Dr. Hrabowski. I graduated a year ago, and I'm here today as an independent reporter.
Okay.
You might remember before I graduated,
Yes.
I interviewed you on the phone
about
the concerns surrounding sexual assaults
Yes.
that were alleged on campus in
Yes.
2014
Yes.
and 2015.
I remember that.
Including one situation where a survivor was discouraged by UMBC police from pursuing criminal charges,
Right.
and the police department told her that she was more likely to see justice through student judicial because there's a lower standard of evidence. And then once she was funneled into student judicial and she went through the hearing process, the rape kit that was done at Johns Hopkins
Right.
that had DNA evidence
Right.
was excluded from the hearing. It wasn't allowed to be mentioned, and I was never able to get a concrete answer about who made the decision to exclude the rape kit and why.
Right.
And when I interviewed you about
Yes,
that,
yes.
you said that you didn't know the details of that specific
That's right.
situation.
I remember that.
And you also said that there was absolutely not a need to make changes in the process. So at what point between a year ago and today did you
Yes.
change your mind and come to realize that there was a need for change?
Well, this is what I did. I asked you to get in contact with our Title IX people. And I told them you were going to contact them. They even tried to contact you to go through it, because at that point, the fact is that we believe that process is good. We still believe that. Now, if an external view comes up and they say, you're not doing these things, we will make those changes. But we did try to reach you. I said, listen, she feels strongly about this. Get to her so that she can hear what we did, how we did, and all of that. They could not reach you.
I did, and it took me a year to do the follow-up because I need to get situated in my career.
But you
reach
know
out
they were trying to reach you,
journalists.
right? They were trying
But
to reach
that's not
you.
what I want to talk about. Yes, I understand they were trying to reach me. That's not in dispute.
Yes,
My
yes.
question is, when I interviewed you that day, you said that there was absolutely no need to make changes to any of our university processes regarding sexual assault.
Right, because
and
we
now
had
that you're
just done, we had
sitting
just
here
done them. We
with
had just done
100
them.
people in the room, you're saying we need change. So
I'm
I
saying
want to know
that what is
when.
clear to me, I'll tell you what's clear. We had the opportunity to come up with the system, to hire more lawyers, to train investigators. That letter that we sent out was not inauthentic. It was not the thing for students to see, but we had just trained 100 plus faculty and staff on our campus that day, that Friday, to be fair to people in these kinds of cases. We'd hired external people to come in, and they did excellent training for them, and that letter was about just that fact. And that had been planned for months. We do the training every year. We have about 100 plus faculty and staff who go through the training to make sure we're being fair to people. Then we have the investigators, and I want you to get a chance to see this system because there's a lot that's good about that system, and we were feeling very good about it when you did that. We were feeling very good because we had a number of cases. I'd had people coming to me to say thank you for giving the support, right? What's changed is that today, two things have happened. Number one, we're in this room. Number two, in the last few days, I've had people saying, you don't know all the circumstances involving how survivors feel. We want you to know that. And number three, quite frankly, we're in the middle of a legal suit that has said allegations that we have to deal with right now. But most important, this is the most important thing I can say. I gave you my commitment that we would bring an external expert group. We've got to see what that is. And we'll have student leaders working with us so that when we choose, people can say, yeah, they've got the best. They got the best we can find. To come in and look at that system, the system that I have believed was just fine because I saw it working. But if there are problems with it, if there are gaps in there, the one problem I see is that we didn't do enough communicating with students to say, these are the things we're doing. These are the opportunities where students can give us some input. Or these are the people who are being trained. There are people all over this campus who've gone through year after year of training. And yet, one of the things you say in here that I think is very important is that we need to do more training. I heard things about at every level. I heard wonderful trans saying that somebody in the custodial staff had been insulting in the bathroom, which makes the point. It's not just professional staff. It's up and down the line. We need the training so people understand how to respect people, how to be supportive. So we were learning things yesterday, and I'm learning things today, and that is what is different. I'm listening. Yes,
So-
If I may, briefly, as like an organizer of the event,
Yeah.
something that I'm thinking is that like the training that you tout and the process which you tout, I think you have to realize that it can't so much be on the university's terms. Like, I think it's clear because there's been such a gross violation of student trust and such like an endemic, systemic cover-up and of like sexual violence that I don't think that you can trust the university or yourself, as it were, to like be the ones to organize training and to be the ones to organize a response, because who exactly, this is a systemic issue. You can't ask the system to fix the system. And I appreciate you saying that you're committed to having an outside group come in, but I would very much ask you to make sure that you're getting 110% student body and survivor
I appreciate
support.
that. I appreciate that.
And choosing that outside.
I would agree completely. The fact is that the only way this can work is if there are representatives from the student body who are working with us to find the right group. Because the group can come in and do a lot, but if people didn't agree from the beginning that it was a group that could be trusted by everybody, it would not work. I agree with that completely. And I will say this, some of you know me, it has not been the intention to hide anything. I need to say that. But this is where I give the apology. We could have been giving statistics and more information on what has happened in recent years so people could have a sense of both the challenges, the progress we made, and what some have said, and even the responses from the last survey that was done. Because I'm going to ask you to help us with all of that. So we'll come up with a structure, and I'm saying to you, one of the things you can do for the town hall meeting is have some specific suggestions as we go through some of the things that you're talking about. You gave some are here now about the training, about the card, for example. We've talked about health services and some things, right? We can, these are things that students can feel and see immediately.
Are these things that we can have your verbal word on that we will be tackling within the next few months? Like, any demands on the list other than the rebuilding committee? Are there things that you can promise that
Sure.
will be tackled?
We're going to attack all of those specific recommendations other than the personnel and legal. Cannot. I mean, and we can, but what I would like is for you to get some training and see what the challenges are, because they're challenges for us, but they're also challenges for you. Because if somebody's career is hurt, they can sue all of us. That's real. If you want to see an example of that, go to the Duke situation and the millions of dollars and the people who were sued. That's just real. It really is. So we have to be careful legally how we deal with that. But other than that issue, we can make a lot of progress. You have my word.
If I
And-
may,
go ahead.
briefly,
Sure.
to some extent, like, I understand the importance of legality, but there's also an issue of creating a safe environment on campus.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
there's legal issues, of course, to say maybe removing some of the people we've asked to
Right,
be removed.
right.
But without those people being removed,
Right.
then we won't have a safe environment on campus. We won't have a campus environment conducive to supporting survivors until these people are gone.
Now, I would say this, and I want you to hear me saying this. I am committed to having student representation and looking at what we do, even as we bring the outside people in, to make sure we want people to feel safe. And there are ways of doing that. We began working with We Believe You. We group yesterday, and we made some progress, and we'll make more progress. And a part of it will have to do with involvement with different offices, and making sure that we listen to the specificity with regard to safety issues. And I think, so your question about, can I make a commitment that this is talking about the next few months? Oh, definitely. Oh, definitely. We're talking about
Specific
progress.
demands, though.
Yeah, and by the time of the town hall meeting, I will have gone through it with people, and we can give you some things. We can-
Dr. Rabowski, do you have a response to what's been alleged against the UMBC Police Department, and do you have any plans for altering or working within or without the UMBC Police Department about their misconduct regarding sexual assault allegations?
Yes.
Because when you talk about statistics,
Right.
I was sexually assaulted my freshman year here,
Okay.
and I did not report it to UMBC Police, so I would not be included in those statistics.
Okay.
But I did get to join the Voices Against Violence support group, which was then
Yes.
dismantled here at UMBC.
Okay.
So then when I hear you talk about communication, that's a bit
Yeah.
confusing for me, because
Yeah.
that was a survivor support group here
Yes.
that was then taken away, in which one person could be in anonymity.
Mhm.
Anonymity.
Yes. Anonymity.
Anonymity, thank
Yes.
you. Without reporting to UMBC
Sure.
police.
Yeah.
In my freshman year, my roommate was assaulted, and a video of her was circulated around the campus.
Mm.
And UMBC police came to our door to talk to her, but they
Yes.
then discouraged her
Yeah.
from reporting and pursuing judicial action against her abuser, the person who assaulted her. So I'm interested in how you're
Yeah.
planning on working with UMBC police and making changes there, because
Yes.
that's a huge issue in how survivors are being encouraged, or rather discouraged, to
It's an
pursue
excellent
their
point.
assaulters.
It's an excellent point. You talked about training. I think the whole campus, faculty, students, staff, administration, all of us need much more training. And I accept that. And the way you'll see whether or not I'm real about it is to see what happens in the next few months. And I think there should be updates, milestones, right? Opportunities for people to come together. I mean, my goal will be during this semester, this will become the priority. And right now, let me just say this. Let me look in everybody's face and say this. After 30 years at UMBC, my biggest challenge right now is to regain the trust of the campus, of the students, so that you can see what we say we're going to do, we do. Okay?
Excuse me,
And hold
Dr.
us to that.
Dabrowski.
Please hold us to that.
Why wasn't that your biggest goal a year ago when I interviewed you? And
Yes,
I mentioned
it was my
you
goal.
know
And
that
I
the
tried to
school
get you
was
to come,
under-
and you did not. Excuse
That's
me.
false.
You did
No,
not.
you're turning this around about
No,
a
I was
student
trying to get you to come and
journalist.
listen to the process. You wouldn't do that. I said, please talk to them about the process and let me know. You never did.
I didn't get a concrete answer from Bobby at the time. I was a student. I didn't know how to be a journalist. I've been working in my field, and now I know
Sure.
what I'm doing.
Sure.
And now I'm back to finish what I started before I knew how to do it properly.
Right.
And I told you.
Well,
I
you have a
told
chance
you
now.
that there
You have a
was
chance
student
now to see what we do.
who
We
had
tried
no
our best.
accountability
I
for
hear
that
what you're
rape
saying.
pit being thrown out of student judicial.
Right.
UMBC was currently under federal investigation, and you said no changes needed to be made. You said absolutely not when I asked you if we needed more training.
Yes.
You
yes.
said absolutely
At that
not
time,
when
we
I
were
asked
doing
anything
training.
needed to
We
change.
were doing training. If you go back, we can give you the data to show the training we're doing. Clearly, it's not enough. I accept that. I accept it. There's more we have to do. I accept that. Okay?
So is it this
At
lawsuit
that
or these
time,
100 students in
no,
your
no, no,
office
no,
that
no,
made
no,
you
no.
change your mind?
I'll tell you what changed my mind when I listened yesterday. before today, when I listened yesterday to a number of survivors and heard them saying that they didn't feel safe, and I said to my colleagues, we got more work to do.
I told you I didn't feel safe on the phone a year ago.
You were graduating, and I tried to get you to Bobby, and you didn't go.
You didn't ask me for. That doesn't matter. I didn't know how to follow through with that
I don't know
at
what
the
else
time.
I can say. I was
It's
trying to help
about.
you.
I'm talking about the interview we had that day and what you said in that interview,
And
not anything that happened
I really asked you to
afterwards.
go. I said, learn what we're doing, and then let's talk. You never went.
And I
So
understand a lot
I'm
more
being
about
honest.
that
I'm being
process
truthful. I tried.
now.
I asked her to go. I said, please.
This
Go and
isn't
talk to them, and then we can talk.
A
You know
college
that.
student not knowing how to be a reporter.
Sorry.
This is about what you said that day.
Dr.
I accept
Fauci,
it.
you're
I'm sorry.
both of
Go
you
ahead,
are
please.
attacking each
Please.
other, and
You're right. You're right.
I'm a freshman, and I
Yeah.
just feel very uncomfortable in this
Okay,
situation because
sure.
you're making her on the verge of
Oh, no.
crying.
Yes.
If you saw that. And I get that you can't do a lot of legal stuff like
Yes.
firing or suspending people.
Sure.
I get that there's legal issues with that,
Yeah.
but you could still make a commitment to like doing things like expanding the counseling center, and you
Yes.
could do that
Yes.
by like redistributing money. Maybe fireworks on the first day of school for freshmen aren't necessary.
Maybe the
Expense.
cop budget could be cut.
Yeah, let me say this.
And
I
maybe
have,
having
and
more
I
diverse,
apologize to you. I don't
police
mean
staff
to be, I don't mean to.
on campus is a great idea also.
We will go through some of the specific suggestions, and we will look at the support system, for example, whether it's counseling, health services. We can make a lot of progress. When I hear students saying they're not feeling safe, we have work to do. I accept that. We have work to do.
So do you admit that you were wrong a year ago and that you should have paid more attention to the issue when UMBC was already under federal investigation, and when you had a student call you on the phone and say, I don't feel safe, the school is under federal investigation, and right now it's in the press, that this DNA evidence was thrown out of a student judicial process, and no one at student judicial could tell me who was responsible for that decision or why. At the time when you said that no changes needed to be made, now do you admit that you were wrong that day?
I was right in saying that as far as I knew, no changes needed to be made. Now I see we've got changes to make, and it may be about communication, it may be about external review to see what works and what does not. I get that. I do get that. At the time, I told you what I thought was the truth. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
So if there had been 100 people in your office when UMBC was under federal investigation in
Right.
2015,
Yes.
would you have made this your priority then?
Well, we did make it a priority. We want you to see how much money we did put into it. We talked with a lot of students at
But
that
you
time.
told me no
and we
changes
did
needed to be made.
because we just invested a lot of stuff in there. We thought it was working. We put in more lawyers. We put in another process. We just done all of that. We thought we'd done the right. That's what I started by saying. We thought we'd done the right thing. Okay. Now it's clear what we have done is not enough. I get that. Okay. And I am willing to say we're going to do better. I am saying to all of you again, and to the freshmen, I appreciate you stopping me because I don't want to be rude to you. I really don't. It is not my intention to be rude.
This isn't about the fact that a junior in college didn't know how to follow through with the task of an investigative reporter. This is about the fact that a year ago I told you on the phone, I feel unsafe, there's no accountability in student judicial. I asked you if any changes needed to be made and you said absolutely not.
But what else did I say to you?
I want to ask, you say, you're talking a lot about listening to the students right now, but you didn't listen to her when she was on the phone interviewing her.
Oh, I really did, and that's why I said don't. I said please talk to, because you asked me about specific situations, and I was saying let's talk to the head of Title IX, and then let's get back together. And when I heard you had not, I said, did you try to reach her? And they said they had. So I wasn't finished with the conversation, but I wanted you to get more information on the specifics because the specifics you were talking about I didn't know about.
You
So
said
if the person says they don't feel safe, then you think it's like not really. Sorry, I'm having trouble wording this question.
That's okay.
What's the difference now? Like, why are you?
What
so
we did
pessimistic
after that,
right
I
now?
talked with a lot of students, asking them about their experiences. I went around saying, tell me what you think. You know, I had focus groups. I had people talking, and I got a lot of positive feedback. In one case, somebody said, I need to understand the process, and I did that. So after you talked to me, I did talk to a lot of students. To get
So
their
you
point of view.
told me that no changes needed to be made, but you're saying you internally felt something different in what you said and started
Communications.
reaching out to students?
Just the communications, that people didn't know what we were doing. That's what I'm saying right now. I'm not sure how many of you knew how much money we have put into this process in recent years. Not enough, but we thought we had done the right thing. I don't know what else I can say about that.
Dr.
What I
Wilson?
want to be able to do, let me say this, what I really want to be able to do is from this point on, see what we can do to make a difference. Go ahead, please.
Sorry, it doesn't matter how much money you put in or how much the students didn't know how much money you put in.
Right.
The system still didn't work, no matter how much money you put in.
For a lot of people.
Yeah. And so it doesn't matter that like you didn't know exactly what was happening.
Yeah.
What matters is it still isn't working and it
Right.
still needs to be changed and you're
Yeah.
still like you acknowledge that, but then you're like the problem was really just communication. That's what I've been hearing come out of your mouth, a lot of redirecting, a lot of bullshit, frankly. And you say you're not a politician, but you are acting like one.
No, I'm feeling like a president who really needs to listen to his students.
Can you clarify what you were graduating comment a while back?
What about the
When
money?
when you were
Does it-
going back
And that's
and
what I
forth?
got, what I meant is this.
But you were graduating, so does that not matter anymore?
No, and that's why I got her to. And when she said she was graduating, I said, get to her so we can see exactly what her questions are. And they did try to get to her.
I think there's an issue here.
It wasn't my responsibility to figure out how to protect my campus. I was a student, not a professional, and I started an investigation that I didn't know how to do yet because I felt unsafe. And I'm incredibly fortunate now that since then I've graduated and I found mentors in my field who I respect. I know how to follow through with that. But it never should have been my job as a college student to try to uncover why it is that no woman I know on campus feels safe. Everyone I know carries pepper spray, carries a pocket knife. It is common knowledge among women on campus. It has been since my freshman year here. This campus isn't safe, and if you report it to the police, they won't follow through with it. I've, heard that, horror stories from other women, just kind of, people whispering, be safe, take this pepper spray with you from my first day that I got here. It should not have been my responsibility in the first place to do this investigation as an undergraduate. So yeah, I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to follow through with it then. I'm here now fixing it and finishing what I started before I knew how. And the question of what I was or wasn't able to do as a college student is irrelevant because it shouldn't have my responsibility. The question is why it is when you have a student on the phone saying I feel unsafe and telling you about the specific incident where DNA evidence was excluded from a student judicial hearing and no one at student judicial could tell me who made that decision or why. That should have set off an alarm to you. There's a problem with student judicial, and you should have said, I'm going to go and find out why that happened. And you didn't. You put it on me. You put it on the college student to go and learn that information instead of taking it upon yourself as the president of the university to go and find out why that happened. That wasn't my job as a college student. That's my job now here today as a reporter. When I was here as a college student, that was not my job. That was your job.
So I went to the Title IX people and I said, can you look this up to see what's going on? We're trying to get in contact with her so that we can see what the situation is, and then I can talk to her again. And they tried to reach you.
You're making it about me. This isn't
No,
about
what I'm saying is
me.
this. I went back and looked at it.
It's not about me. It's about the
But I'm saying
situation
that I
where
took
the
you
rape
seriously.
kit was
All I'm saying is I took
excluded.
you seriously. I took you seriously when I asked about it.
This isn't about me. You're making it about me. It's about the fact that that rape kit was excluded from a
Right.
student judicial hearing, and I told you that on the phone, and you made no effort on your own to find out what happened with that specific incident
did tell
because you
her.
should have been horrified. It's not about me. It has
did
nothing to do
tell
with whether or not I contacted you after that. Being a president and knowing that knowledge, you should have looked into it of your own accord.
And I
then
did.
when I asked
And I
you,
did.
do any changes need to be made,
Hold on.
you
Sarah,
could have
Sarah.
said, if that's
Sarah,
true, then yes.
You're not being fair. All you're doing is attacking.
I'm sorry. Let me say this, and I don't want you to say. Well, that's okay. That's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, I can take it.
This is my right to hold
course you
him
do.
accountable and to ask him the questions I've
Yes.
had for a year about why it is the whole time
That
I've been
is
on this
just great
panel.
to say.
Wait.
Everybody take a
That-
step
this
back.
is-
Wait. The problem here right now is the fact that if someone comes to you with a problem in our judicial branch on campus and how that process is being handled, it is not the job of a college student to follow through and to be a part of that process, because if anything, and if you hear anything that is as horrifying as it is for me to hear,
Yes.
to have a college student's DNA rape kit excluded from their judicial process,
Yeah.
it's horrifying.
Yeah.
I'm horrified to know that this happened. I already feel unsafe because of everything that's happened over the weekend. Just knowing that it's not about following up with the student, it's not about what the student can do. We shouldn't have to come to your meetings for our voices to be heard.
Right.
Of course you want to hear them, but if there's a problem in the system,
Yeah.
it has to be addressed whether we're part of the process or not.
Yes. I agree completely.
That's the problem being discussed
And
here.
with all due respect, I did go and check. That's all I can say. I did go in to check. I don't recall. I really don't. I said, please look into this and let's talk with her about it, then we can discuss it more. But I did go and check to say, is there anything you think we should be doing differently at that time? Okay? I did go and check. I did respect you.
You asked too, is there anything we should be doing differently?
I mean, was there a problem there? I mean, what are the specifics there? And that's why, I was trying to get in contact with you out of respect.
One more thing.
It's not about me. Let's not talk about me.
Oh, well, okay. Go ahead.
Excuse me, regarding the barking comment, I don't think she was barking at all, and also, if all of us didn't come in here and march up here and were barking, we wouldn't be able to speak with him right now. So I don't think she was barking, she was letting us all know. I wouldn't have known too much.
Right, and let me say it again. Let me say it again. Let me say it again. Officer, let me ask you to leave the room, okay? Just because.
Thank
let me
you.
leave it.
Thank you.
With due respect, officer. With due respect. With due respect. With due respect.
That one too.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, please. Please, go ahead. Please, with due respect.
Regards to personnel concerns. Can everybody please quiet down for a second? Would it not be an option to place the personnel listed on the demands on paid leave to separate them from students to avoid a wrongful termination suit?
Legal issues. No, I cannot speak to the personnel issues. Those are all legal issues with the AG's office. I cannot do that. I can make a lot of progress. We can make a lot of progress together.
Outside
And
of
you
the
have my
lawsuit,
word.
though,
Outside of the personnel,
like,
because
students
these are
feel
all.
unsafe around
What we will make sure, what we want to do is, as we have the town meeting and as we have people from that We Believe You and other groups and the Women's Center and others working with us, we will listen to the specific concerns. I see Jess in the room from Women's Center. I'll be working with Women's Center and with the other student groups to make sure people are safe. Yeah.
Dr. Abowski, I hear an implication in your answers to Serafina that when you called student judicial, you got an answer that satisfied you. Either that or it didn't bother you that much.
I didn't call
there
student
must have been an
judicial.
answer that satisfied you, that said an explanation for why the rape kit was thrown out.
I didn't
or
ask for
who was
specifics.
accountable.
At that time, what I said was, we have an interviewer who's talking to me. There's some challenge, and I need to understand what the challenge is, what the specific, because I didn't know about it before. Right?
So your questions to them were
Yeah.
more about covering yourself and
No,
less about
Is there a
actually
problem here? And at that
determining
time,
whether there was a problem.
Yeah.
Did you get to the root of that problem? Did you
I don't
get
even
an
recall
answer that
now.
satisfied you about whether there was
All
a
I
problem?
remember is, because I was expecting to have another conversation. I really was.
Okay.
You shouldn't be waiting on a college student for the
No,
next step in
I
that
did what I had to
process.
do. I had told
when
my
that
folks to
was
look
brought to
into
your
it.
attention.
Do you have a plan for investigating the personnel that we've named as being problematic in the university?
We have personnel rules, and one of the challenges is that we need to understand. You talked about that training. One of the challenges
I
is.
didn't talk about training.
Somebody mentioned the
Nothing.
training
Nothing.
about with the police.
For me, it was about the police being problematic and
Yes.
impeding
Yes.
justice being brought to
Yeah, one of the things we really want to do is to look at the level of training we're giving people right now.
Okay. But what about
And-
people who have been named as being someone in the Mosaic Center employing a student who had sexually assaulted another student? What about
We will
people who
look
have
into any allegations that
actively
people
committed
give.
sexual assault crimes?
And-
Because that's serious. and
Yes.
People on staff. So
Yeah.
do you have a plan for investigating?
I
those
think a
people
part
who
of
have
that
been
plan,
guilty of sexual
I
assault?
appreciate that. A part of that plan will involve bringing an outside group in to look at the whole process.
Like the police?
So we can,
Or-
outside of the university, there are expert groups that focus on these issues. We had expert groups here doing the training last Friday, okay? But to have the Women's Center and some other student groups working with us in choosing the right external group, because at this point, we need to have trust that the process works. And that's why.
That clearly doesn't happen.
What I'm saying is the process that we develop. I mean, when we find out what's not working, we need to change it. That would be the way.
We already know it's not working.
So we need to, and that's what I'm saying, we need to be able to bring in people to say, this is not good about it, this needs to be changed, let's listen to what students are saying, let's adapt, let's revamp.
Outside
I
of
have
this,
a follow-up question. I'm sorry. Was this the first time you've heard of athletes potentially being guilty of sexual assault on other students on this campus? It was like this weekend.
No,
This
it
was
was
the
not.
very first time.
No, because we have, you should know, you should know that we have had suspensions of, and expulsions of students, including athletes, for these kinds of problems over the years. Now, we don't publish that when we do what we do.
And did you implement any kind of program?
We
to
did
address
all
that problem
kinds,
in
we
the
did
school?
indeed, we did indeed. They're doing much more training now, it's still not what it needs to be,
And what
we
are your
did.
thoughts on the the results of
We need
those
to
programs now?
see from students right now if there are still some issues there. And this is one of the things I can tell you. When we do the training, when we do it with the students, we get an opportunity to hear what's working and what's not working. And so again, am I saying it's working completely? No. We did some training. We have worked with coaches and others a lot on that. We sent a message by expelling some people, okay, in the recent years, from that group and from other groups. What we have not done is because somebody said it yesterday, people don't know what has happened in cases when things have happened, and when once we finish the legal thing, we can tell people, we have this part of the communication thing, we need to say, yeah, these people are no longer here, or these people are being charged criminally, those kinds of things.
I have a question too.
Yeah.
About the people who they're asking to be removed. I understand you can't do it now because of legal reasons. Is it a possibility in the future for them to be removed from their positions?
Like, what if
Once the legal
The
system goes
allegations,
through?
we will see what the legal system says about the allegations, and after that, we can look at all that, and we can discuss it with you. We can discuss it with you.
So what is the first step to bringing people who committed either misconduct or actual sexual assault within the system to justice?
Committed
What is the first
assault?
step? Like there was a student who's employed
Right.
by the Mosaic Center, or people who just committed misconduct in terms of impeding investigations or
The
impeding
rapists
justice.
were
What is
still
the
on campus.
what is the first step
Yes.
that the administration is going to take to that? Because you're talking
Yes.
about you need to go through like a legal process. What is the very
What
first
I would
step
say,
that
the
you
first
have
step
to
is,
do?
first of all, in the town meeting, we need people there who can talk about what we do right now, get perspectives on that. Because even as we talk about some outside group, we really need to give people a chance to see what we do and to give us feedback. It's something that we've not
What's
done.
the first legal
Indeed.
step?
And the lawyers right now, the people who have been accused have lawyers, and we have been in court quite a bit recently, from both sides.
I mean, I'm specifically referring to people who are in the administration
Right.
who have impeded investigations from proceeding.
Then we need to see what those are. We need to understand those, and we need a process for looking at who is in question, all right, and having conversations with those people. And I do think having a small group of people from student groups to see how we handle it and to raise questions is reasonable.
So I'm
It's
sorry to
very
interrupt, but what I'm hearing from you is that the safety of students, which we know is an issue, that these cases are epidemic at this school, is much less important to you than insulating the university from liability.
Oh no.
That is what I'm hearing about.
I'm sorry then,
all
that
of
is
the
not my
legal
message.
issues.
My
That may not be
message
your
is,
message. That is what you are literally saying.
my message is that we will do whatever is necessary to make this place safe. And I need students to work with me in that process.
Okay,
We would
you
be
just
happy to
said
work
you'll
with
do
you on
whatever is
making
necessary
demands.
to make us feel safe.
Right,
But
right.
having two rapists on campus, employed by this university, makes us feel unsafe. And I understand the legality of the issue.
Yeah.
But those are two different things. We will do whatever's necessary.
Well, you
Like,
know,
oh, we can't do it 'cause of the
they
legality.
are, first of all, they are, according to the law, they are alleged to have done something. But there are ways of making,
They
that,
admitted
the
to it,
law,
like-
but the law, you
They
have
are
to
not
give it-
lawyers,
you know
we're
that.
students with
I understand
rapists
that,
on our
but
campus.
there's a legal process.
But you if you want to say alleged when you say it, you can, but you don't correct us when we say that they are admitted, confessed rapists.
They have
Do not
confessed.
correct us. This is the truth.
Mhm.
This is what they said in their own statements to the police.
One of the things that might be helpful and that we can do as we go through the town meeting is to have the right legal experts saying what we can say, what we can do. When I said making people feel safe and making sure that is making sure anybody who is in question, quite frankly, that we're doing what's necessary to make sure that there's not the kind of interaction that would make people feel unsafe. There are ways of doing that, there really are, of making sure we are watching carefully. You see what I'm saying? There really are ways of making sure. If there are people who are in question, all right, there are ways of watching carefully to make sure people can feel safe. And we have been doing that.
There are absolutely ways to do that, and I hope that you look at that list and implement those ways that we've asked you for.
Okay. I'm going to ask you, if you would, 2 or 3 things. Number one, again, I started by saying I appreciate you being here. As you can imagine, it's not hard on. It's not easy on you. It's not easy on me. This is not. And the fact is that
At least
we
you're
have.
paid for it.
What's that?
At least you're paying for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
We pay in trauma and
Yeah.
pay in
And
letting it remain throughout the process.
You know, I am looking forward. Let me say this. I mean, UMBC is a place where you have students who are willing to
Class to
speak
do
up.
your job right now.
What's that?
People are missing class to do what should be your job.
We've been working. We've really been working. We've really been working to do our job. We haven't done it well enough. I'm the first to say we haven't done it well enough. We're going to work to listen even more carefully, and I think you can judge us by our actions. Okay, short term and long term. And what I really hope is that we can make some progress, substantial progress, in the short term and in the long term. And I say, just let's see what we can do together. We need your help, your suggestions. You've got some good suggestions here that we can work on immediately, and we will do that.
Town hall,
Right.
what steps are you taking to incorporate students into the reconstruction process?
Yes, and I want you to bring some suggestions when you come to the town hall about some things, and I'm going to be asking you all to work with different groups as we think through that structure. It's going to be Thursday at 3:30.
Is it posted on the My UMBC?
It will be. If it hadn't up yet, they were trying to find the right place.
Okay.
They were trying to find the right place right now. We'll have it out before the day's out. For sure. For sure will.
In Fine Arts, in the recital hall, Fine Arts.
Fine Arts Recital Hall. Okay. And we want to talk about how we have a structure of people who can work with us to make sure things work. We will do that. We really will. Listen, I thank you all for being here. We have a lot of work to do. I get that. The administration, the faculty, the staff, the students, all of us have a lot of work we need to do. And I would simply ask you to work with us in making substantial progress. The number one goal has to be that students feel safe and to do the things necessary. And if you know, I have to say this. There's so many people on this campus who care deeply about students. And I know they will want to work with me to make sure that you feel that caring. I really believe that. It's
So
very
Dr.
important.
Habrowski, excuse me, to be clear, the difference between a year ago when I interviewed you about the 2014 and 2015 assault cases and UMBC was under federal investigation then, the difference between then and now was that you came to the realization there's a systemic problem at UMBC within the past 3 days in light of the current lawsuit and in light of this student action in your room. So within the past 3 days, you have had a change of mind from a year ago when you said that there were no updates that needed to be made.
Let me say to you that we can give you the proof. We have been working so hard on these things.
But did you change your mind in the past 3 days?
The big difference is the communication first, and listening to students. I'm saying that. We have not, but we have been working on a lot of things. We have taken this very seriously, and we want to give you a chance to hear what we've done, and then to say, this is what you didn't do, this is how you can do it. So the difference is this, that, and I said this to the group yesterday, clearly, we didn't do enough to communicate the kinds of things we were doing. Some of the results that will show how we put people out of school because of what they had done. You don't know those things because we didn't say it. We needed to have been saying those things so people could have had more confidence in the process. That's where we meet the issue. Now, it's taken to another level in respect to what you're saying. It's another level because there's such interest. More than ever, we can take advantage of this to do the kind of analysis of our process and an analysis of what else we need to do to make sure people are safe, and to put milestones there. And you said something that was very important, John, that is to have a structure that allows us to give feedback to students about what's being done. And we need to think that through. We'll use some of our experts on campus to help us with that.
I mean, you've said a lot of things, and like, quite frankly, I don't think we trust you right now. But we will, if the things that you're saying are true, we will be there continually throughout this process, giving our feedback, giving our input, and we hope that something changes, I guess, if what you're saying is true. But
Think
we'll
of it
be
this
here
way.
to
I
decide.
appreciate that, and I appreciate that people who don't know people here would not trust. But I want you to think about this. The university cannot move ahead if students don't believe in us, because you are the university. There's nothing that's more important for me to do than to rebuild the trust. I mean, it's very important. It's very important to me. I mean, there's no way we as a university can go to the next level if students are saying, we don't trust you or we don't feel safe. So my number one job in this next period has to be to pull us all together, faculty, staff, students, and administration, to be saying, we believe in each other and we can get this done. that it has to be that way. And I say this, let's look at where we are in a couple of months. Okay? That's all we can do. Yes.
But first of all, we don't believe in some of the faculty. We don't believe in some of the administration. We don't believe in some of the students, especially the students who have admitted to being rapists. The administrators and faculty who have covered the stuff up. Also, I communicated to you that you just talking about communication about what you've done. It doesn't matter. It matters that there's still this problem. It doesn't matter how much you've done or how little you've communicated to students. What you've communicated to students isn't a problem. I already told you that. And the fact that you then brought it up again meant that you were not listening to me when I said it in the first place.
What you've done is not nearly as important as what you're gonna do.
Well, that's what we're gonna. I agree completely. But to move on this, we need to get a foundation. Where are we now, and what else we need to do? As you talk about evaluating the system and having a larger piece, we have to first, we really have to get the experts in who can help us with part of that. There are parts we can do ourselves, but no. And when I said communication, I mean from this point on. I'm sorry if I were not clear. That we need to be working, as is suggested here, collaboratively on making progress.
May I ask what actions are going to be taken to help students feel safe on campus while these changes are being enacted?
Right. We will start with this town hall meeting. We'll be talking with some of our. Well, let me just say between now and the town hall meeting, we want to work with students and with Women's Center and other experts on campus and looking at some things that might be in the short term even helpful. Okay. We'll be able to talk about those at that town hall meeting, and then we'll be having these regular meetings for the updates and suggestions from people about what can be done.
All right.
Okay? All right. I'm sorry.
In the meantime, between now and whenever your first initiative of changes, because this is such a diverse community, not only a race but queer community.
Yes.
And that type of thing emboldens people who are horrible enough to commit these acts to people. What is the alternative when you do need help? Because now people aren't going to want to speak out more than ever because who are they going to go to if they can't trust the one people that's supposed to do your job?
And if we are clearly bringing in people to give us support so that students will know where they can go when there's a problem and so that people can see what we're doing to support people. It is on a daily basis that we got to show what we can do for every one of the units that you talked about. We need to be looking in the mirror completely and finding ways to build it to the next level and to build the trust. There's no doubt about that.
Can I get, for people who are comfortable with this, can I get a quick show of hands of everybody in this room who is a survivor of sexual violence?
Okay. Yes. And I am so sorry. I am so very sorry. We need to do more. We need to do more. You hear me saying that?
And you will, or we're not going to stop.
I know, I wouldn't expect you to. Wait a minute, let me say this. Hold us accountable. Get that on record. I'm saying hold us accountable. No, we are determined to help our students. I mean, why else are we here if it's not to help our students?
So you agree that when we hold you accountable, you will not continue to deflect questions and other
I will
like
do
that?
my best to be as listening as possible. I really will.
When I was sexually harassed on campus, it actually took place in Commons, and I work in Commons, so every single day I had to pass by those two people because they were workers for Chartwells. And when I went and I actually told Bobby Holt, I spoke to her directly, she told me that there was nothing that they could do because she and the center was basically, they're a third party, so UMBC could just tell them hey, talk to your employees not to do that. So that personally was very difficult because I had to pass by them every single day.
Yes.
And then I don't know what happened, but I'm assuming maybe something else happened because they're not here anymore.
Yes.
But I would have rather had that happen sooner than me having to wait 3 months and seeing them every single day.
And I do know some things changed, some people were moved from there. But I'm sorry it was presented that way because one of the things that was said yesterday that was very helpful is that we have to look at all of our employees, not just people in and out of the classroom, but custodial staff, the contractual people, that we have to have a certain level of requirement of training. And in recent times, we've been doing more of that because of some people who had said some things about that, but also about some of the other contractual people on campus. And we've been doing much more with that now. But you saw a change, but it didn't happen soon enough, and we need to look at that. And I'm sorry, very sorry.
I just have one thing to say. I think a lot of the frustration in the room is because a lot of the things that you're saying and that you're trying to communicate to us is that there's only so much that you can do as a university and that you can do as the president because of legal issues, because of procedures. It's important that you understand that this is a structural issue. There's a lot of rape culture within those processes and a lot of those legalities that stop survivors and victims from getting the justice that they deserve. So it's very nice that you're trying to work with us, but a precedent that needs to be set here is that we can move from that structure and we can move beyond that because it's not enough and it's not working. And even if you do all you can as a university and stay within that realm, it'll never be enough. Even if you bring in outside people, even if you listen to us, because rape culture is just structural.
It's a major challenge, but what we can do, and it's something you said that makes a lot of sense, about bringing in people to look at what we're doing, to make some changes, but to have the people come in, talking to students, to get their point of view on it, to look at the structure, and then the structure about how we make sure we are constantly listening to what they say. And then it is about, your point is well taken, it is a rape culture that we have, okay? And we can never talk about it enough because there are so many challenges and attitudes of people. But what we can do is constantly shed the light on it so that people know what we do if the wrong things happen and what we do to make people safe, for example, okay? And to have these kinds of difficult conversations with a lot of people, students, faculty, and staff. I agree completely. I agree completely. It is a major challenge in our society, and this is a part of that. But we have a responsibility to do everything we can and to bring in all the resources we can so students can be safe, so we can help people to prepare for living after here, and we can get people to question the way they do things right now on many levels. So I agree completely. I really do. Just a question to the group. We will have the town hall meeting on Thursday, and again, I'm going to be looking to see what things we might say even then. But most important, think about people from different groups who might be representatives as we think about having student group coming together with us. We have some other students, but I'd want to be as representative as possible to hear the different points of view, especially from survivors, but from other people also, as we work to build trust, number one, as we work to make sure people feel safe and that people see we follow through on what we say we're going to do. And I accept you saying you need to see the actions. I accept that, I really do. And I thank you all very much. Thank you for coming here today. You will hear from us. We'll talk again on Thursday. This may sound, one more thing I would just like to say. I really mean this. I'm looking around the room. I'm proud of all of you for speaking the truth, for coming as a community to say we need to change, we need to improve, all right? And the one thing I would want you to know is it is our intent to make sure people are safe on this campus. We will work at that.
He's got a lot of impact, though. We want to say, like, you've talked a lot of pretty things. You've complimented us. You've given us a lot of platitudes. But in the end, you've talked us in circles. We'll see you at the town hall.
Yeah.
Before everybody leaves, if anybody would like my contact information, my name is John Platter. I am a third-year student here. I am a survivor of sexual assault. I am the executive director of the LGBTQ Student Union on campus, and I am a member of the Speak Out to Oppose Predators and Their Protectors. If you would like to get involved with Stop UMBC, please don't hesitate to contact me or anybody else. Nate Stewart. My email is xq32372@umbc.edu. xq32372@umbc.edu.
My email's N49, N as in the letter that comes after M, at umbc.edu.
However we dress.
However we dress.
Wherever we go.
Wherever we go.
Yes means yes.
Yes means yes.
No means no.
No means no.